Thomas, great to have
Hello.
you.
How are
Perfect.
you?
Yeah, that was really easy. Usually, I sort of was fingers crossed. Sometimes it's harder to get people connect, but that was great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you today?
Yeah, really well. We were just I was just kind of giving our audience 147, 148, like the 165. The chat's really building.
God
Um,
bless.
just giving everyone a bit of an idea of your body of work. I mean, what are you working on at the moment, and where have we got you from?
Well, I am in my office in Hollywood, California. I just wrapped a project that I'm sure we'll probably end up talking about a little bit. And we've been in post with a few other films that are due to come out early next year, as well as planning another slate of films to do.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the things I mentioned to everyone as they jumped in the chat was, I mean, not everyone's been able to pump out films during COVID, but you've kind of really just gone straight through. How has COVID sort of affected the industry in your mind?
Well, I have to say I am blessed and grateful that my team and I have been continued to work during COVID. Which struck the industry pretty hard. It's not easy, we're following all the guidelines that COVID has in place for the Hollywood. It's just rough. Things are different, a lot different than what it used to be. But it should have been. Things are good. We're getting better. Everybody's starting to understand the rhythm and starting to understand the way things operate during this time, this new era of filmmaking. But I do feel blessed and grateful that during the course of COVID that we still maintained production
Yeah.
and doing what we needed to do.
Cindy Cowan and a couple of the other people I've spoken with mentioned on some films, it's another 25% of the budget, and
Yeah.
even north of that, just to kind of go through the guidelines. I mean, have you sort of found that you've had to put a figure on budgets just to kind of keep shooting?
Yes, there's a lot of extra figures that go into the requirements just to maintain the protocol. There's extra costs that on a normal project you wouldn't have. In the day of COVID, it's needed. So your budget seems to get rises quite tremendously.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal.
No, but if it's going to keep everybody safe and moving forward, this is the new norm, then it is what it is. And we just have to, button up, figure out how we can cut costs in other departments without losing the quality of the film. Because, number one, it's all about the project. It's all about the film and what we're presenting to you, the audience. So in order to make things work, you just have to figure out and other arrangements of how to do things.
Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice. Welcome everyone who's jumped into the chat with Thomas Churchill. Again, you can ask any questions as you like, guys, as we're kind of talking with him. Rise Up King 33. I saw Angela gave a shout out to you, Thomas, earlier as well.
Oh, hello. Hello, everybody in the chat room. The names are going by pretty quick. I'm sorry if I miss people, but hello. Thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you all.
Yeah, that was great. So, I mean, I'd love to get an idea of your first job in the industry. I mean, what was your very first sort of sample of getting into filmmaking?
Well, my first introduction to the industry is I wanted to be an actor. And I was in the top 5 for the film The Champ. Now I'm dating myself. On the East Coast in New York. And I thought I actually had it. And then they casted John Voight, and I looked nothing like John Voight. And so I still had that acting bug in me. And a few years later, I ended up convincing my dad to buy me a video camera. Which at the time is really expensive. And I figured that if you build it, they will come. So I wrote, produced, directed, starred in, and edited my first film, which won multiple awards first time out of the gate. And I fell in love with the process then. Acting was always important to me, and I always love acting. But the process of actually what you're creating, you're helping bring to life. And when people watch it, that's the closest thing anybody will ever get of getting inside my head, which is pretty dangerous in there.
Sure.
I always kid around and say, like, inside my head is like that scene from Bruce Almighty with that file cabinet that just keeps going, and you're looking and looking for projects, and you got like a little team in there typing and working and shooting it up to your brain saying, hey, how about this idea? And I'm like, no. So
it's always moving. It's always going.
Always.
Yeah. I think I read you were 17 years old when you got the camera. Was that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
My father, God bless him, made a deal with me. You know, at the time the camera was expensive, so I had to go out and get a part-time job after school and help him pay it back. But it wasn't about the money. Because my father didn't really care about the money. It was all about to see what my commitment was. Would I go out and continue to stand up for something and do what I needed to do with the camera, as well as paying it back? I mean, that money went nowhere. It went to like the house for toilet paper and everything else. He didn't care. It was just teaching me, nothing comes easy. If you want something, you got to work for it. And that was a great learning lesson that I got at an early age.
I think that's a really nice segue as well. Just a lot of the people that talk on Mogul Live, the same thing they kind of echo with the idea that filmmaking is not just red carpets and entourage. Like, it is actually a lot of work, and there's a lot of stress that goes on behind the scenes, and you need that hard work. You're not in the industry just to go to the red carpet, because everything before that is usually, basically topsy-turvy or making you upside down.
I agree. For every success story, there's a team of people behind that person. And, everything for every success story, there's 10, 15, 20 years built up behind that of getting just there. I mean, I could go back the year that I met, the year that I tried out for the movie The Champ was when I met my first celebrity. And my father, we were in the Central, Fred Williamson.
Okay.
Yeah, we were in my father and I were in the Central Park Zoo on a Sunday, I remember, where my mom kicked us out of the house while she was cooking and cleaning and said, go somewhere. So my father took me to the zoo. And he pointed out, now again, this is before internet and phones and stuff. I mean, when you saw a celebrity, it was a big deal. So he pointed him out and he said, see that guy over there? That's a movie star. So I let go of my dad's hand and I beelined right over to Fred Williamson and tugged on his elbow. And I said, how you doing, Mr. Williamson? I want to be an actor just like you. And I remember him calling me little man and say, where's your dad? Where's your folks? So then my father came over, they started talking, and then as a kid you get, all right, I did my part, and I wanted to look at the seals while my father talked to Fred. And, this story has also coming up again. And years later, I was doing a convention where I was doing some signings for some of the projects I've done, and Fred Williamson was in the green room. And I didn't want to go in the green room. And the guy that hosted the event said, "Hey, go in the green room. It's okay. I mean, yeah, is it locked? The door locked?" And I said, "No, I'm fine." I didn't want to be face to face with my childhood. So when I actually went into the room, it was me and Fred again. And he says, "How you doing, dog? Hammer." And I said, "Nice to meet you." I said, "We actually met many years ago." And I brought him back to that day in the park. And he's sitting there looking at me. And he's like, "I remember that kid. You were with your father." And it made me feel so good that this guy remembered some kid years going. So fast forward again, when my father passed away, I wanted to do something different in his name. And that's when I wrote Checkpoint. And the only person that my father's name was Charles. And the only person that I wanted to play this character of Chester, which is another name of Charles, was Fred Williamson. And I was grateful to actually get him in that movie. So it was full circle. My dad
That's
introduced me to him.
amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing. And what's
yeah.
your relationship like with him at the moment? Like,
I could call him up now and he'll say, "What's up, dog? You got any work? We working together?" That's what he'll say to me. Like we speak all the time, either in text messages or on the internet. But it's just funny that when you're a child, you get introduced to a movie star, and then years later you're in the same room, and then years after that you're actually directing them, and
yeah,
that's a great experience to me. I
that's
mean, it shows you about believing in who you are and believing in your dreams, because everything, you work hard, you believe in it, everything comes.
yeah. I want to go back and listen to that again. That was
Sure.
really, yeah. No, that was great, guys. You can ask Thomas any questions as we're going along. Just on, you
How's
mentioned
my hair,
checkpoint.
James? My hair good?
I think it looks pretty good. Pretty good.
Cool.
uh, I'd love to get a dive into some of these films. You mentioned Checkpoint before, and maybe a story or some interesting detail on how it got made. First one I'll ask though, Checkpoint. I mean, cool film. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it.
Thank you. It was a an experience to make that movie, coming from a smaller budget movies and doing a action film. And there was a lot of moving parts. There was the schedule was tight, but at the end of the day, there was a film that I believed in. It was mainly meant for our heroes, or our soldiers, whatever country you're in. To kind of stand behind them, good or bad, and give them the support. So Checkpoint came out of my head when I was sitting with the financier, and he says, "Hey, too bad you don't have an action film." And I said, "Oh, I do have an action film." He's like, "Oh, what is it?" So I pitched him it, and he goes, "What's the title?" And I told him the title, and he was like, "Oh, can you give me a one sheet, and and then let me see if we'll greenlight it." So I got in my car and I'm driving home, and I didn't have anything. It was just as I'm talking to him, I took a sip, and all these stories that I had in my head, I just pitched. And then I went home and wrote the script. The script was done in 2 weeks. We were
That's
shooting
great.
we were shooting a month later.
What budget did you have on that?
That budget was, I believe, it was $2.5 million American money.
And you shot in North Carolina?
Shot the entire film in Wilmington, North Carolina. Yes.
Because I saw R. Forge, NC Film, thumbs up. So what's it, just for anyone as well that might ask the question, what's your favorite place to shoot as far as states in the U.S.?
Wherever they'll let me.
Sure.
No, I love going on location to shoot something, because if you wrote something for that environment, I like to have that environment as a character and it come to life. So I'm open to travel to shoot things. Shooting in LA is great also, because you have everything here. I mean, you want something to look like Louisiana, it's here. You want something to look like New York, it's here. That's why the industry was here 100+ years ago. But I love making art. I love making movies, and no matter where the story will take me, I will go and tell that story.
And what, I guess, kind of singling on, like that was a North Carolina film, The Hard Way. Was that a similar process? I mean, how did that one come to fruition?
Well, The Hard Way. Originally, I was set to direct the film, write, produce, and direct, and I ended up when the project was moving to Romania, and at the time, my schedule was not allowing me. So I wrote the script, and they did a great job with it. With the team that put that film together, I still work with, and they've been very good to me. They're a great group to work for. Phil Goldfine and Bin Dang.
I think Bin's just jumped in the chat. I'll give a shout out for jumping in.
Hey,
good timing.
Yeah, so Phil Goldfine and Bin Dang been very good to me, and we've done I want to say close to 12, maybe 12 projects already, and I'm truly blessed and grateful. I don't even consider them like colleagues; it's family now. I mean, I built relationships with them. They've been just amazing.
Yeah, and I think that goes to back to what you were saying before. Hey, Ben, good to see you. It goes back to what you said, where there's a team. Behind that success, there's always a team.
Absolutely, there is no I in team, but people always say there's a me, but there's but with that, Hollywood Media Bridge and Bungalow Films, they've been really supportive of projects that I pitched and wanted to do, and even on set, the process with them on set is just reassuring that they're there for your support, and we create great projects together, and I'm very grateful for every opportunity that I get from them. I'm very grateful that I'm working in this industry that I dreamt of when I was a kid, and and here I am, grateful, blessed, just working, doing my dreams.
Yeah, and doing it very well. I said to the guys just before we started, I think 31 producing credits, 24 directing credits, just the latest that I sort of saw. So whatever you're doing it right.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
I'd love to kind of get a snapshot as well. The Amityville Harvest, that particular project. What's the motivation to make that? And what sort of budget?
Well, the budgets were, they were good. They were, it got everything we needed to get done. The Amityville Harvest was a concept that I had when I was a kid. I kind of tooled around with this little idea of this vampire living in this house, and I kind of when I was a kid, I kind of did this type of movie version of it, and I always thought it was a special story that I wanted to do again as an adult, as a professional. So during the course of my career, it came out of my head again, and it was telling me, tweak things, fix things, and pitch it. And I believe the Amityville Harvest is what if a vampire moved into that neighborhood? In Amityville, Long Island, everybody is still talking about the house, the haunted house, the house that the murders took place from the 70s. But what if down the street and around the corner there was a vampire that owned a funeral home and lived his life? What would happen? So it built on that, and then the script was ended up being written, and we were able to shoot it. We shot it in Long Island, Amityville, New York, as well as California. So it's pretty authentic, and I believe it's canon now. It's an official Amityville film that falls into the storyline of the original film. And just having my film part of that history, again, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
And it's these guys helped me do it. Phil and Ben and Hollywood Media Bridge, and I'm grateful.
Well, I think the audience is, well, the guys we've got in the chat are really agreeing with everything everything you say. I'll throw out a couple of comments. Alex Drazovich Hunt, sorry if I don't quite get that. It says Thomas has great filing cabinets in his head. Thanks, Alex. Lorraine, so amazing. You are. Brawl and Bow, Church is the man. Can ask questions as well, guys, as well anytime. I'd love to get your thoughts on pretty much if you're an actor auditioning for one of your films, what do you like to see in the audition or the casting process?
Oh, that's great. Great question. Honesty. I feel like if you know the character and you connect it to the character, your honest performance will come out, and that's what the camera is going to capture. So I always look for honesty in someone's performance, as well as the it factor. Sometimes somebody walks in a room and you just see like this glow about them, and that they're special somehow, and you want to be part of that energy.
Yeah.
So those are the two things I look for.
And do you find that, like, when you're auditioning actors, that sometimes they do something wrong that would, I guess, not cost them the part, but you kind of think, oh, well, I don't like actors, trying to be too friendly to me and just trying to be my best friend, or I don't like actors that, want to do it their own way. Is there any particular thing that you would perhaps say to actors try and avoid?
Yes. I got a pet peeve as well. Because I look at it as, what would I do if I went into an audition? How would I behave? How would I do it? I don't mind someone coming and being friendly, but when you come in and you're too cocky for a role and you don't know what the role is about, and you're just, that's turn off, because I don't feel that we're going to connect on set, because you already have this vision of what the character is really not. And the way you present yourself coming into the room, I feel like there's not going to be any chance to connect.
Right.
As you stated something, is there anything an actor does that during an audition, I won't interfere with what they put together, but if there's something that I like in them, I will throw scenarios at them off book, just to see where they would go with it.
Right.
Again, it goes back to honesty. How honest are you with this character? How honest are you in trying to move forward in taking this character that I wrote and bringing it to life? So I'll throw scenarios at them, like, what if you were here, and just to see what their answers are. That's basically how I roll as when I'm looking at the casting.
I think that's fantastic, because, I mean, and to kind of circle back, about a year and a half ago, we were talking to a well-known casting director who was giving us a similar thing, but just in different words. And one of the things she said a lot of the time, she'd work hard to bring an actress or an actor in for a role, but they're almost too worried about their looks. Like, they want the character to be good looking, and they'd come to the casting basically wanting to play the good looking version of the bad guy. And that was where it's that, when you said honesty and truth, connecting with the character, not trying to kind of make your own character in your head that suits everything.
I truly look for, besides what I stated, is if someone's willing to strip away all their makeup, all their, just fluff, and go in kind of naked, in the sense of a blank canvas, and saying, okay, I am an actor. Show me what you want, or let me morph into that character. Perfect example, Meryl Streep. Beautiful woman, glamorous, but you could take Meryl Streep and take everything away from her, and she's still going to give you a powerful performance.
Yep.
Makeup, no makeup, hair done, no hair done. It's just, again, honesty. When you read a script and you're looking down at those words, what jumps out at you? What brings you to the next level? What brings you to that, hey, I am this person? That's what captures any casting agent, any director, any producer, because they want to see that come to life.
Yeah, it's the honesty, the vulnerable truth we're talking about. I just want to quickly jump back as well, just while we've got everyone
Hey,
here.
brother, you can go wherever you want. Ask me anything. I'm an open book.
I saw Angela 777 Co. She wrote, "Love Amityville Harvest. Can you ask Thomas about M? Question mark. I really want to see it go into production. M for Marilyn."
Soon. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, awesome. Alex has come back again. Honesty and vulnerability equals likability. Fantastic. That's totally true. 100%.
Thank you.
Great man to work with. Forge, so talented. Log Andrews. Keep them coming, guys. Thomas Churchill has the best hair. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, it's great. These are all great. Any question's a good question. Let's talk about Devil Road just as well while we're on some of these films. Can you give us a little bit of a kind of an overview there?
I loved making it. I loved writing it. It's a great story, and I'm hoping that the audience will take it as another new horror icon. The project was challenging, but we had a great team behind it, and I'm really excited to what we shot.
Fantastic. Awesome. American Devils just jumped in with a quick question. I'll quickly ask this one too. I heard the movie Checkpoint was based off his nephew.
Somewhat. Somewhat. That American Devil's my Marine nephew, Stephen, who I'm very grateful for his service. And he was so it was. So thank you, Stephen, for tuning in.
Yeah, awesome. Let's talk a little bit about just going forward now in Hollywood, because we get a lot of filmmakers, directors, writers, actors, right in that professional side. Is there any advice you'd give for someone now coming into the industry? So let's say they're coming in at the entry level. And as you know, Thomas, I'll circle it down. I'll say firstly for an actor, and then for a director.
Be yourself. Don't pretend to be people you're not. Stay true to who you are, but understand the beast of Hollywood. Understand what it is, what it's about. I always state when I do conventions, I always get asked these questions, and from other filmmakers. And other filmmakers, I always state, you need to leave your bubble. You have to leave your neighborhood, your backyard, wherever you are making movies, and you should go to California, Hollywood, for at least a year and a half. Understand the system. It's great. Art is great, but it's also a business. It's a business that it's called the film business for a reason. People need to make money on it. You need to make money to survive. Otherwise, it's just nothing more but an expensive hobby. And the people out here this is their profession. This is what we do. We live, breathe, and do this each day of our lives. You just have to be real. Respect is key. Jackie Gleason stated many years ago, be nice to the people going up, because you're going to meet the same people coming back down. So be nice, be kind, understand, listen, and do what you need to do. If you're at the table, there's a reason why you're at the table. And just shine. Be honest. Honesty shines.
That's fantastic. I think for anyone that's jumped in the chat now, There's some really good sound bites coming, Thomas. But I think that's just spot on. That's spot on. And I think that's also something that can keep you grounded as well as you hit that Hollywood, there's something that stood out to me, which is it's a profession. It's if you're taking it seriously, you've got to take it seriously to put food on the table rather than just a hobby, because the two are very different. Quickly circling back to a couple of great questions that came up there. This is from Dead Exit Project. If you could get the green light to remake any classic, what would it be?
Wow. If I could get the green light to remake any classic, well, I'm in love with Hitchcock, but I would not touch any of his films because I think they're perfect. Same thing with Spielberg. But if I had to remake a film, a classic, I would love an opportunity to do Deliverance.
Okay.
And kind of tell it in a different way. I would love to get an opportunity to do Sharky's Machine. But I think that's already in production with a studio. But those are two films that I was a Burt Reynolds fan, and I think those are two of his great films, and those are the two. Like, I mean, of course, if Universal came to me and asked me to remake a Hitchcock movie, I would be hesitant because why? To me those. But again, it's a business. If they're asking me to do it, I'd have to do it. But,
yeah, it's like a pros and cons,
Yeah.
Like you don't want to spoil the classic, but if they're coming to you and they're asking you and not someone else.
Like if somebody asked me, I would go and try to get the person's blood. But obviously Hitchcock's not here. But I mean, I would want someone's blessing before I dove into doing something.
Yeah.
Not just the studio's blessing, but the blessing of the creator, the original, because you're the other flip side of that coin, James, is if something's great, why do it?
Yeah.
If you want to, why would you want to remake it if it's good? I mean, I would want to remake things.
It's risky because it is risky because they've set the bar so high that this fan base is expecting kind of like a Star Wars setup.
And you're always going to be compared to the original.
Yes.
So create something new.
Good answer. JJV D'Antoni, hope I got that right, D'Antoni. Thomas, the question is, do you take suggestions? I have a great book my husband wrote. It's similar to a modern Bronx Tale, Goodfellas. Love to see his book, a film.
It's her husband's book?
Yeah. Do you take suggestions? I have a great book. My husband wrote it. Yes.
Sure. I'm always looking for new projects. Sometimes the easier projects to get done is if there's financing that comes with it. Otherwise, it goes on the list of what to do. But I'm always looking to look at new stuff and see. I mean, you might have the next Godfather, Bronx Tale, so sure, send me a copy of the book. I'll be more than happy to read it and see my thoughts.
Awesome. Good question. Let's have a quick look. Thomas is the best guy in and out of this industry. Everyone loves him. That's Alex. Here we go. This is a good one.
Thank you.
Vince wrote in, what is the best advice to a new director to be successful? For new directors to be successful?
To listen to their producers. That would be one of them. And it goes back to the other thing, to be respectful, to understand, if you're new, you're already not Spielberg. There's a lot of big shoes to fill. Just become successful within your own world, understand the game, understand the business, understand what's important, because it's again a team effort, and you need to be a good leader to have a good team. And if you're some directors say that they're directors, and then when you put them in at that moment they get nervous and they choke. And once a crew sees that, or the actors see that, you lose respect.
Yeah, I
And
think
then,
that's
so you
so
got to
Figg.
know your game before you even step in.
Yeah, and I think that's where it starts, doesn't it? Because the director on set, everybody's looking to the director to steer the ship.
That's
So
right.
as you said, if there's hesitation or there's a disconnect, it kind of filters straight down very quickly.
And if somebody's going to put in, again, X amount of millions of dollars, and you look like a deer in the headlights, you just lost their money, as well as you'll be replaced quick.
Yeah,
And there's nothing worse than getting replaced. I mean, that never happened to me, thank God, yet. But I wouldn't say yet, because I'm not even going to put it in the universe. But I'm sure there's nothing more than being replaced, because you're going to go down personally, beating yourself up and saying, why did I do that? Why did this happen? And it's been already did. So
yeah.
just,
No,
again,
excellent.
respect.
Yeah, excellent advice. Pedro Madison wrote, "What an amazing director! I love working with him." Deliverance, Future Girl, got the comment there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Dawn of the Devil. Proud of you, my brother. All your success and many blessings from Glendale, Queens, New York. Joey, thanks, Joey.
Thank you.
Monet in Bloom. Hope I got that. Monet in Bloom. Best director emoji. Getting some great feedback here, Thomas.
Thank you.
We've probably got time for one more question, guys. So just letting you all know, if there's anything you'd like to ask, just next sort of 5 minutes or so. I will ask, what can we see you doing next? What is the projects that you're currently got slated for the rest of the year?
There's a couple of action films that we've been talking about, a couple of horror films. I'm going to have a meeting this week with my team, and we'll figure out what's going to be the next big thing for us to do. I know there's a lot on the table, and for the rest of the year, we just have to see what will be the next one, what would make sense to do next.
Yeah. Well, just before I wrap up, for anyone, Thomas has great merch too. Just before I wrap up, one of the things that I thought was really, I suppose, a testament to your, obviously your resume, Thomas, is you can write, direct, produce, do all these things. So for anyone that's perhaps looking at why is it important? Like if I'm an actor, why should I learn to write? If I'm a director, why should I learn to produce? What's your advice on wearing more than one hat to get ahead in the industry?
That's just it. To get ahead in the industry. If you're just an actor, understand how to produce so you can be a producing actor where you can kind of produce the projects for you. As a writer, with me, I can only talk about me. What happened was, again, I wanted to showcase my talents as an actor. So I wrote a script, I produced it, and then directed it. And each job at the time, I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew at the time a writer, it's just me and this piece of paper or me and the computer screen creating this world. Once that's finished, then your producing hat comes on and you say, okay, how do I make this world come to life? What am I going to need? How am I going to get it? And most independent directors and filmmakers make the key mistake. They go out and they spend their own money on buying a camera because they want to shoot. Don't do that. Use that money for your production. Hire the guy who owns the camera to shoot it for you. Hire the guy who owns the producing. Hire the guy who owns the electric. So this way you got all that. With me, as I do, I enjoy the world of writing. I like creating it. And then the producing aspect, I like being involved with the producing of my films because I'd like to know what's coming and what I need, any hiccups that's going to change the script in any way. Then as a director, once I walk on that set as the director, it's my duty to make sure that everything that got lined up is I'm going to capture in the lens. Basically, you bleed in post production, so when you're in production, everything is easy. Everything works for you. You know where everybody's duties are. You know what you want. You have your shot list, and you just move forward and roll through each day. Don't think about the end of the day. Don't think about next week. You just focus on that day to get that in the can and make your time, because that's truly important.
Great advice. Before we go, Dawn of the day, more horror, please. Love you, Thomas. Alex, okay, final question, I think, because I've said final question about 3 times. Alex has written, where do you draw your inspiration from? And great question, too.
Life, people. Living testimonies, when you're things I've been through, things I've gone through, things I'm afraid of, people that influence me. So, I mean, I can sit here and spit out a couple of ideas because of just this conversation. It's easy. I mean, it's not that easy that sometimes it looks easy. I'm very humbled with everything that I've been doing, and I'm grateful. And James, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk.
Oh, it's our pleasure. I mean, you're an inspiration. I mean, the feedback as well. I'll let you know as well. JJB D'Antoni, great interview. Patricia's written great advice, sending positive vibes. Thank you, Thomas. I think it's very much thank you for coming on as well.
Thank you. I'm grateful. And Mogul Live, yes.
Well, we'll get you back again, 100%. Can't wait to see more of your projects coming up as well. And I was going to say, for everyone out there, we've got a great lineup tomorrow and the next 2 days in a row. We've got more guests on Mogul Live, so stay tuned for those, including Ben, who just come in the chat. Thomas, we'll get you back again. Have a terrific evening, and thanks again for being on Mogul Live.
Thank you very much, very much. I'm grateful. God bless. Talk soon.
Talk soon. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again soon.
I want to introduce you all to a new sponsor of Church's Hollywood Moments, Slotto Cash. Slotto Cash is an online casino with fun slots to play. Scan the QR code here, open an account, use code SLOTTO16 for 116% instant deposit bonus for all new players and 116 free spins on their lucky 6. They do require a minimum deposit of $25 and have different terms and conditions listed on their website. Slotto Cash celebrated their 16th anniversary. We are growing here at Church's Hollywood Moments and getting interest from new companies for sponsorships all around the world. If you're enjoying our videos, then please like, subscribe, and tell your friends all about us. Slotto Cash. Come visit our swag store, Church's Hollywood Moments swag store, as well as Churchill Productions swag store. Come visit us, churchillproductions.com. That's a wrap.
Grenade! 3, 2, 1, boom!
Stay, hold.
Hold, don't move.